March 2020, the world shuts down. No games, no stadiums, no Vegas betting. Sports fans suddenly had nowhere to go. But in that vacuum, something surprising happened. The sports card hobby exploded in a way no one could have predicted. This is the inside story of how COVID reshaped card collecting and the hobby. Even before COVID, the hobby was heating up. Luka Doncic 2018 Prism rookies were climbing steadily, and collectors were betting on Zion Williamson to be the next big thing in 2019. Modern basketball was driving a lot of excitement, while vintage cards like Jordan's 86 Fleer or that classic 52 Mantle were slowly gaining momentum in auctions. Grading companies like PSA and BGS were busier than they had been in years, as collectors realized that slabs could turn a $5 raw card into a $50 investment. Card breaking was growing too, though mostly on smaller Facebook groups and YouTube streams. Still, the hobby was largely under the radar. Prices were rising, but it wasn't front-page news. Outside of collectors and a few savvy investors, most people saw sports cards as childhood relics, not something that could change their bank account. Nobody knew it yet, but this slow burn was about to ignite. Then came March 11th, 2020. The NBA shut down after Rudy Gobert tested positive for COVID, and within days, every major sport followed. Baseball's opening day was pushed back. The NCAA tournament was canceled, and arenas that were supposed to be filled with fans sat silent. For the first time in modern history, the sports world simply stopped. That left millions of fans in limbo. No games to watch, no fantasy sports. It was like someone had turned the volume of sports culture all the way down. And in that silence, something unexpected started to happen. People at home, bored, isolated, and sitting on stimulus checks, began looking for outlets. Some dug through closets and attics, pulling out old binders and shoeboxes of cards. Others stumbled onto live card breaks streaming on YouTube and Instagram, where they could buy into a pack and feel the rush of sports again, even without the games. What started as a trickle of nostalgia and curiosity in March quickly turned into a flood. The hobby was about to catch fire in a way it hadn't seen since the junk wax boom of the 1980s. One of the sparks came in April of 2020 when ESPN aired The Last Dance, the Michael Jordan documentary. With live sports still shut down, millions of fans tuned in, and suddenly Jordan was back in the spotlight. His cards, which had been steady for years, caught fire almost overnight. His 1986 Fleer rookie, once a $15,000 card at the start of the year, was suddenly selling for over $50,000 by summer. And it wasn't just Jordan. Stars from the 80s and 90s like Scottie Pippen and Dennis Rodman, and even role players, saw their cards shoot up. Nostalgia was officially back in style. At the same time, modern cards were exploding as well. Luka Doncic's 2018 Prism rookie went from a few $100s to over $1,000 in a matter of months. Zion Williamson's hype drove his cards into the stratosphere before he even played a full NBA season. Collectors were quick to grab these modern cards. Meanwhile, breakers were ripping boxes every night, streaming live on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. Thousands of people would pile into a single stream, not just to watch the cards, but to feel like they were part of something. In a time when nobody could go to games, breaks became the new stadium, full of cheer, suspense, and the rush of a big pull. And then there were the grading companies. They were swamped. PSA, the biggest grading company in the world, was completely stacked. Collectors sent in cards by the thousands, chasing tens of thousands of dollars in upside if they came back gem mint. By July, turnaround times had ballooned from weeks to months, with boxes of submission piling up in the warehouses. Some people wouldn't see their cards again for over a year. The hobby just wasn't back, it was supercharged, and for the first time in decades, mainstream media was paying attention. Headlines about record-breaking sales and the return of trading cards started to appear on ESPN, CNBC, and even the New York Times. Sports cards weren't just a niche hobby anymore, they were a cultural story. By 2021, it had reached full mania. Cards that once sat forgotten in dollar boxes were suddenly headline material. Luka Doncic's Prism Rookie hit $2,000 at its peak. Vintage wasn't left behind either. In January of 2021, a Mickey Mantle 1952 Topps PSA 9 sold for $5.2 million, shattering records and making Wall Street investors take notice. And it wasn't just about the hobby anymore, it was pop culture. Logan Paul live-streamed opening a sealed case of first edition Pokemon in front of millions, wearing a $150,000 Charizard around his neck. Celebrities like Steve Aoki and Gary Vaynerchuk were suddenly talking about sports cards. And then there was retail. For decades, Target and Walmart shelves were an afterthought. Packs sat there for weeks, waiting for kids to grab them. But during the craze, those shelves became battlegrounds. Restocks were gone within minutes. Flippers lined up at dawn, sometimes even following vendors around the store. Packs that cost $20 were instantly being resold online for $80, $100, or even more. Some stores had to hire security or pull cards off the shelves entirely. It was cardboard chaos, and retail shopping became one of the clearest signs of just how wild the hobby had gotten. On the ground, the hobby was unrecognizable. Sports card shows turned into spectacles. The Dallas Card Show was wall-to-wall people, shoulder to shoulder, with lines wrapping around the hotel lobby. And the National that year in Chicago that summer, it felt less like a trade show and more like a rock concert. Influencers filmed trades, kids were flipping slabs like stocks, and the population at the dealer tables were tenfold. Cards had become more than collectibles. They were status symbols, assets, and the heartbeat of a craze. A hobby had never felt so alive. From Wall Street to living rooms, everyone wanted in on the ride. But easy money never lasts forever. As the world reopened, demand cooled. PSA's grading backlog finally cleared, and suddenly the market was flooded with slabs. Inflation and rising interest rates meant people had less disposable income. Prices across modern basketball and baseball tumbled. The frenzy that defined 2020 and 2021 were gone. Headlines about record sales slowed down. Investors who came in looking for quick flips started to drift away. And yet, this wasn't the crash of the late 90s. Shows still thrived. The turnouts were strong at Dallas, the national, and local events. And most importantly, many collectors who had rediscovered the hobby during COVID just didn't vanish. They stuck around, this time more focused on collecting than gambling. The speculative market cooled, but the community remained. The hobby, while no longer on fire, had found a new baseline. Collectors who rediscovered the hobby during the boom didn't just walk away. They built communities, started YouTube channels, podcasts, and local shows that continue to thrive today. The pandemic boom also reshaped the industry itself. Grading companies expanded capacity, new marketplaces and auction houses emerged, card shows became bigger and more organized than ever before, and perhaps more importantly, sports cards re-entered mainstream culture. No longer just nostalgia from the past, but a living, evolving hobby with a real staying power. In the end, COVID didn't just create a bubble, it left a foundation. The hobby today is different, bigger, louder, and more connected. The gold rush may be over, but the community it built is here to stay. And for many collectors, that might be the most valuable card of all. Thanks so much for watching. I'd love to hear what your experience in the hobby was like during the pandemic. Did you find yourself buying more, ripping packs online, or maybe even stepping away for a bit? Drop your stories in the comments. I'd always enjoy reading them. And if you like this video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe for more sports card history and stories. See you on the next one as we go beyond the cardboard.